I remember very vividly 39 years ago when the original USFL debuted. And this is a different USFL.
Yes, it
is.
The
lawyers haven't told me to say this, but here's the reality. We're never going to, we're going to be real with you. The old USFL, the people who own those rights have sued the new USFL, and they tried to get a judge to prevent the new USFL from using any of the names and logos. But one of the problems is they kind of sat on it for months and they drop it out of the blue. And the judge said, no, we're going to let this go forward. But there was enough in the ruling from the judge to create a pretty strong impression. At the end of the day, the original USFL is going to win this. So they're either going to have to carve off some cash for the people who hold those rights, or they're going to have to change the name of the league or change the name of the teams. Regardless, it sure feels like that the old USFL is going to have a strong case at some point, and who knows how that plays out. But it is the USFL. It's kind of back. 39 years ago, March of 1983.
Yeah.
I was a senior in high school.
Right.
I was all fired up for the USFL. It was March. I settled in onto the couch to watch the first game on ABC on a Sunday afternoon. And it's hard for me to do spring football. It's always been hard for me to do spring football. I love football during football season. It's a struggle. You got to make yourself do it. And I don't know if the gambling angle is what's going to draw people to this, but it's going to take some time. And I think that's the goal. You want to let it marinate. You want to let it simmer. You want to build it slowly, and you hope that there are some moments that will resonate and get people to keep watching it. They estimated about 3 million. They project 3 million people watched it on Saturday night on Fox and NBC and Peacock. We'll see what happens this week, and then the week after that. If the numbers hold fairly steady, good news. If they crash through the floor, not good news. But I just think it's been proven time and again. It's a challenge to get people to take to spring football.
It is. It's hard. It's hard, and it's hard. First off, there's colleges dominate spring football to a degree, so there's that aspect. And yeah, the colleges have been there for 100 years and more than that in a lot of places. And there's a tradition built to where, fans, alumni will go to the spring game and spring practices and show up and be a part of that because there's history there. But
even then, there's only a handful of programs that really get them to turn out for the spring game.
Yeah,
I've gone to the West Virginia spring game before, and I mean, it's like, well, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
But like Ohio State, I assume they pack it in pretty well.
Yeah, all the
SEC
then, teams, the big programs at least for that for that part.
Spring practice is one thing. I'm talking about competitive spring football.
Yeah, I know.
It's hard to get people interested in football when it's not football season. I admire the effort. I admire the fact that they keep trying, and the XFL is coming back next year. There's going to be 2 spring leagues. It's a long-term play, and I think ultimately it's driven by the simple reality that as legalized gambling continues to spread, people need things to bet on. And so you got this infrastructure in place in all these states where you can pick up your phone and you can bet. And
yeah, I know. Let me just be the first to tell you, if you're betting on the USFL, you have a problem. Let me just tell you. My name's Chris Simms. Call NBC Sports and let's have a talk, because you have no idea what the hell's going to go on in a USFL football game, and you're just throwing money.
Chris,
throw your money to me, and I'll give you my address.
But Chris, think of it this way. People walk into a casino all the time. They know that it's just a raw chance.
Yeah.
You bet on red, you bet on black when they spin the roulette wheel.
Right.
You don't know what's going to happen. You put the money down, and you can run the odds on a craps table. At the end of the day, it's all chance. So, it's chance. But the point is, it's a way for people to legally gamble, and I think that's the only chance, no pun intended, that spring football has of making it, is of having a sufficiently robust option of bets available to get people engaged that way and to get people to tune in. Because if you got skin in the game, you're going to want to see how the game turns out.
Sure.
So people start betting on it. People start watching it. More people start watching it. More people start betting on it. And it builds momentum that way. That's the one fundamental difference. And maybe the AAF was ahead of its time, because it had that app where it was tracking all the players on the field, and I think they were moving toward real-time in-game betting that way. They had a poor business model, which was spend money that we don't have. That never works. I'm no expert in business, but spending more money than you have, probably not the best way to be successful in any line of work. They fell apart. The pandemic is what derailed the XFL a couple of years ago, and now look, the fact that both the USFL and the XFL are trying to stake out the same turf tells you that people see there's an opportunity there. I don't think this is just delusion. This isn't Jack and the Beanstalk type stuff. There's an opportunity there, but it's not something that's going to develop quickly. And it's going to be B-level talent. People just have to get used to that. It's going to be. The best 90 times 32 guys are spoken for by the NFL right now. So this is the best of the rest. And there's still plenty of other guys that can play football that aren't good enough to hold one of the 90 offseason roster spots on an NFL team.
Yeah, there is. But is it good enough to make you tune in with all the other things that we've talked about? That's going to be the million-dollar question, or just to see if they can last, the test of time there. Definitely. We've discussed this. You tune in the games because we like, the history of the team. We belong to that uniform and that emblem. All right, so that's not going to happen. All right, what's the next thing you tune in for? You tune in to see greatness. Oh, let me see this great player. Let me see what he does. That's another thing. We're not going to see that here. That's what's different about the old USFL. The old USFL, Jim Kelly and Reggie White were out there. They were playing. There was something actually that'll be like, holy crap, this guy right here, I don't give a damn what league he's in. His guy is awesome. And that's not the case. So, yes, there's going to have to be something that sets the league on fire to a degree, or gets people to finally start tuning in, and hopefully they can hang in there and make it work.
And, there are other little tweaks they're going to have to make. And I understand the financial strategy behind playing all the regular season games in one place. It's smart. The travel costs can be crippling. You don't have that at all. You just hunker down in Birmingham. All 8 teams are there. They play in the same place. That's fine. But I can't emphasize this enough. You cannot have constant TV images of no one at the game, because nothing is going to get people to turn the channel faster than seeing a shot of no one there. Because if no one who lives in the town where these games are being played bothers to show up, right, why am I watching this?
Exactly right.
Listen,
agree.
Our top search term yesterday for people who found their way to PFT through search engines was Panthers, gamblers, where are the fans? That was the top search term.
Right.
And that is jarring to see football played non-pandemic in a stadium with no one there. There's a little cluster in the middle, but that's it. It can't be high school JV crowd or people won't watch it. It's not going to
excite you at all. No, there's nothing to be excited for.
You know what? You're better off doing like old school studio wrestling. They used to call pro wrestling studio wrestling. You know why? Because they did it in a TV studio.
Yeah, I remember
that. Had like
that.
20 people there, and the camera angles made it look like it wasn't so poorly attended.
Yeah.
You need to do it. You need to do it at a facility without stands, or with not many stands, a specially constructed 100-yard field where you can present it in a way kind of like that fan-controlled football where you don't notice no one's there.
Yeah, I hear you there. I think that's real.
You're not going to survive if you have constant shots of empty bleachers. Yeah, I was talking to some of the other writers yesterday.
Nobody
People that were with
see
family,
that.
They put the game on. People were like, "What the hell's going on here? Where is everybody?" It's the first thing you notice.
Definitely.
So they got to do something about that.
Yeah.
Our free advice. Not that anyone's asking for our advice. Our other piece of advice too. I would suggest that the USFL adopt a rule that prevents dental implements from being used during the game. We talked about this earlier, but it really bears repeating. And I want to get the guy's name right. DeMarcus Gates. He had a floss pick, a placker, in his mouth during the game. Now, apparently the one that he had is rounded on the back end. I have these things. The back end of it is sharp. I would not want to run around during a football game with the placker that I have in my mouth, because the back end is sharp for plaquing, removing plaque, not with the thread, but with the little sharp plastic end. So regardless, I don't understand what the statement is. I'm not nearly young enough to get the reference, But I saw that and I was like, what in the hell is going on here?
I don't know either. I don't, is he flossing out there? Like he's, showing off? Is that what he meant? I don't know.
That's just something that just feels like something that when you're hitting full speed playing football, that could end up in places.
Yeah.
that are not good.
Lodged in your throat is specifically where you're worried about.
Yeah.
I've never
Up
seen
your
that one.
nose.
That's a new one there for me. I've never seen that before.
Yeah. But I assume he's not. If maybe they'll have press conferences this week and they can ask him, do you have the sharp end or is it the round end? I assume he's got the round-ended placard. But and look, that was a memorable moment. But for me, if that's the one thing that stands out from the weekend, we
got some work to do.
We're getting there.
Right.
We're getting there.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.